Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaura Pimanande. Dayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satya Sri Shrimad, His Divine Grace Shalabai Charan Narvanda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Iskandi Biti Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Janitai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksurun Bilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kantana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Shrimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Tamasloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nisreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swaschayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Mukham karoti vasaram pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataram. Yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataram. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Bhagavatam class. We are reading this morning from the 9th chapter, from the 9th canto of the Shrimad Bhagavatam, and 50, eh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 50. The title of the chapter is The Pastimes of the Supreme Lord, Ramachandra. Text number 50. Agrahid asanam vratra pranipatya prasaditaha prajaha swadharma nirata varnasrama gunanvitaha jugopa pitrivad Ramo Munire Pitaram Cha Tam Agrahid Asanam Vratra Pranipatya Prasaditaha Praja Swadharma Nirata Varnasrama Gunanvitaha Jagopa Pitrivad Ramo Menire Pitaram Chattam Agrahid Asanam Vratra Pranipatya Prasaditaha Praja Swadharma Nirata Varnasrama Gunanvitaha Jugopa Pitrivad Ramo Menire Pitaram Chatam Agrahid Asanam Vratra Pranipatya Prasaditaha Praja Swadharma Nirata Varnasrama Gunanditaha Jugopa Pitrivad Ramo Menire Pitaram Chatam Agrahidasanam Vratra pranipatya prasaditaha praja swadharma nirata varnasrama gunanvitaha jugopa pitrivadramo menire pitaram chatam. Agrahit, accepted. He will translate. Okay, he'll tell after. Asanam, the throne of the state. Bhratra, by his brother. Bharat. Pranipatya, after fully surrendering unto him. Prasaditaha, having been pleased. Prajaha, and the citizens. Swadharma nirataha, fully engaged in their respective occupational duties. Varnasrama, according to the system of Varna and Asrama. Guna Anvitaha, all of them being qualified in that process. Jugopa, the Lord protected them. Pitrivat, exactly like a father. Rama, Lord Ramachandra. Minire, they considered. Pitaram, exactly like a father. Ramaha, Lord Ramachandra. Minire, they considered. Pitaram, exactly like a father. Cha, also. Tam, him, Lord Ramachandra. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharat. Lord Ramachandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father. And the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Asrama, accepted him as their father. Kindly repeat after me. Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharat. Lord Ramachandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father. And the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Asrama, accepted him as their father. Purport. People are very fond of the pattern of Rama Rajya. And even today, politicians sometimes form a party called Rama Rajya. But unfortunately, they have no obedience to Lord Ram. It is sometimes said that people want the kingdom of God without God. Such an aspiration, however, is never to be fulfilled. Good government can exist when the relationship between the citizens and the government is like that exemplified by Lord Ramachandra and his citizens. Lord Ramachandra ruled his kingdom exactly as a father takes care of his children, and the citizens, being obliged to the good government of Lord Ramachandra, accepted the Lord as their father. Thus, the relationship between the citizens and the government should be exactly like that between father and son. When the sons in a family are well trained, they are obedient to the father and mother. And when the father is well qualified, he takes good care of the children. As indicated here by the words Swadharma Nirata Varnasrama Gunanvitaha, the people were good citizens because they accepted the institution of Varna and Asrama, which arranges society in the Varna divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the Asrama divisions of Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. This is actual human civilization. People must be trained according to the different varnasrama occupational duties. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvarnyam maya sristam gunakarma vibhagasaha. Chaturvarnyam maya sristam gunakarma vibhagasaha. The four varnas must be established according to varying qualities and work, guna and karma. The first principle of good government is that it must institute this varnasrama system. The people of varnasrama, the purpose of varnasrama is to enable people to become God conscious. Varnasrama taravata purushena parapuman vishnur aradyate. The entire Varnasrama scheme is intended to enable people to become Vaishnavas. That's why Prabhupada in one conversation is telling that it is not so easy to become Vaishnava. Varnasrama, exactly what he's telling here in the conversation. Varnasrama, Hare Krishna. For the vast majority of people, Varnasrama, that system created by Krishna, is actually necessary to become Vaishnava. The entire Varnasrama system is intended to enable people to become Vaishnava. Vishnur asya devata. When people worship Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Lord, they become Vaishnavas. Thus, people should be trained to become Vaishnavas through the system of Varna and Asrama, as they were during the reign of Lord Ramachandra, when everyone was fully trained to follow the Varnasrama principles. Actually, the reason I'm reading this today is because yesterday I didn't know which volume I was taking. I took the Bhagavatam, and it was this ninth canto, and I just turned the page because I wanted to read something, and I fell on this page. So I took it. Okay, Krishna wants me to read this. So at the end of the last portion of the purport, simply enforcing laws and ordinances cannot make the citizens obedient and lawful. That is impossible. Throughout the entire world, there are so many states, legislative assemblies, and parliaments, but still the citizens are rogues and thieves. Very true. Good citizenship, therefore, cannot be enforced. The citizens must be trained. As there are schools and colleges, to train students to become chemical engineers, lawyers, and specialists in many other departments of knowledge, there must be schools and colleges to train students to become Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, Shudras, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. And Prabhupada called that Varnashram College and Gurukul. That is there in the purport. This will provide the preliminary condition of good citizenship. Varnasrama gunan vitaha. Generally speaking, if the king or president is a Rajarshi, the relationship between the citizens and the chief executive will be clear. And there will be no possibility of disruption in the state because the number of thieves and rogues will decrease. In Kali Yuga, however, because the Varnashrama system is neglected, people are generally thieves and rogues. In the system of democracy, such thieves and rogues naturally collect money from other thieves and rogues, and thus there is chaos in every government, and no one is happy. But here, the example of good government is to be found in the reign of Lord Ramachandra. If people follow this example, there will be good government all over the world. And to read again, Hare Krishna, very thin paper. The translation again, being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharat, Lord Ramachandra then accepted the throne of his state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father, and the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Asrama, accepted him as their father. So, very nice points are being made here in the text and also in the purport that just like if in a family, father and mother, they care for the children, for their dependents. So society, actually, family is like a small society. Few members, of course. Previously, there were many members, extended family, and everyone was uh, caring for one another because actually everyone had the same mental disposition, mental, was it mindset? They call it mindset. Mindset means if everyone is accepting that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, um, and that his representative is the king, or in the family, the father, the head of the family, then there can be good relationship. So we are being reminded again and again through the pages of the Bhagavatam that this is the natural system. We can understand if the government is good by how pleased and satisfied are the citizens. And we know today that all over the world, citizens are not pleased, are not happy. Prabhupada uses quite strong words, rogues and thieves, which is actually the case. So therefore, in the purport, Prabhupada stresses the importance of training. Training. That's a dog or a monkey? Dog. Yeah. Anyways. So training, Vedic culture gives a lot of importance. Training means also education. Training and education, they go hand in hand. So Prabhupada also many times reminded us that our Krishna, hut, hut, too far away, throw some stone. Prabhupada often explained that our Krishna consciousness movement is especially an educational movement, And we most of us don't understand how detailed is this training. Just like Gurukul, actually, Gurukul is especially that place where for many years, not just a weekend, not just a few months, but for many years, one is trained to become very disciplined, to become very knowledgeable in his particular um, activity. That's why that is there in the text itself that Prabhupada is quoting on Varnashrama, guna and karma. Guna means quality. Guna, of course, means the modes of material nature, but guna also means different qualities. Just like those who are allowing themselves to be under the modes of material nature, then they will display um, the different qualities that are found in the Bhagavatam or in the Bhagavad Gita. Mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness. But devotees are being trained above these modes of material nature. So, for a devotee, guna is different than from a non-devotee. For a non-devotee, guna means under the modes of nature, but for a devotee, those qualities are nicely. Yeah, we're not here, he's here. So, um, guna for devotees means those qualities that are described in the 7th canto of the Shrimad Bhagavatam. 30 qualities. Your Guru Maharaj wrote a book on that. Qualities of human being, which is preliminary, which is necessary. It is necessary to develop these qualities, and the more we have individuals who have these qualities, then society can be arranged nicely. Then there can be this this system that is recommended. So most of us, actually, the system we hear about many, many times, the system of Varna and Ashrama, it is not, in one sense, it is simple. In another sense, it is not so simple. Because to develop the actual qualities of a Brahmana, to develop the actual qualities of a Vaishya or Kshatriya, even to develop the qualities of Shudra, it is not so easy. There needs to be some some good training, some good education, and that is very much what Srila Prabhupada wanted us to introduce. Systematic. Matter of fact, that's in the very first of the 7 purposes. The word systematic is utilized. The 7 purposes of ISKCON. Systematically propagate Krishna consciousness. So therefore, in the purport also Prabhupada speaks about, in the same way that there are schools and colleges to train people to become doctors, to become lawyers, to become engineers, we need to have school to train people, to train devotees actually. Only, only devotees can be trained to become qualified Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And it is possible, although not easy, it is possible to introduce that system, and Prabhupada gave us the information how to do this. And Prabhupada also stressed that more easily we can introduce this system when we are connected with nature, when we are connected with, actually we cannot introduce a system unless we're connected with land and cows. And this we don't understand in general, because land and cows, or cows and land actually, are absolutely fundamental aspects of Vedic culture. Vedic culture, Vedic lifestyle, which stresses simplicity and minimizing our material necessities of life, can best be done actually in villages. So that's why in the last few months we've been promoting this Make Vrindavan Village theme, and within that lifestyle, within that Vedic lifestyle, there are there are many things which we cannot immediately understand. Just like when Prabhupada describes the activities of Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram, seemingly they're just like cowherd boys. But actual cowherd boys, this activity of every day going out with the calves, Prabhupada describes that as the Vedic norm for education. And and that is practically totally absent or lacking in modern day society, because there's a whole culture behind. So one of the realizations I have more recently been getting is that not only is the spiritual topics of Krishna consciousness, we speak about the science of rasa, bhakti rasa, the whole book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is full of information about the spirit soul and our relationship with Krishna and different rasa. That in itself is a very deep subject matter. But what is also deep subject matter is this simple way of living, which is recommended in the Shastra. And and that is why it is not so easy to advance in Krishna consciousness, because the subject matter of spirituality is very is a very deep subject matter, and that is why it is also not so easy for our devotees, and what to speak of people in general, to understand about this recommended lifestyle based on the varnas and ashramas, because that is also a very involved and deep subject matter, although it may outwardly seem very simple. So we can only begin. Oh, okay, that's close to the end of the chapter here. We can only begin to understand this when we implement what Srila Prabhupada is recommending, that we systematically introduce training and education, and ideally that should be done with our children when they are young, especially the boys need to receive this training in Varna. There's a different type of training that is there for Matajis. And if we follow in this manner, then we can begin to understand the many references that are made by Srila Prabhupada throughout the Bhagavatam. This one being one such reference regarding the good government during the times of Lord Ramachandra. So it means that not only our purpose, our aim is not only to train people as brahmanas, but also as kshatriyas, of course, ultimately as Vaishnavas. But Prabhupada makes the point here actually that it is that system, that standard, it is an eternal system, actually. Some modern people, they will argue this was invented recently for some material, for exploiting. Actually, the system was not invented, but when not understood, then easily one can exploit. The Brahmanas can exploit, the Kshatriyas can exploit, everyone can exploit, you know, when the proper understanding is not there. So, this was a very strong request and desire on the part of Srila Prabhupada that we institute such educational institution that are in keeping or in line with our Vedic culture. So, any thoughts on this? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Why it's not easy to do? Why it is not so easy to do what Prabhupada is telling us?
There is no example for that.
Huh?
There is no example that I'm thinking that back to Lord Chaitanya, who was trying to do teaching Varnashram and parallelly teaching Krishna consciousness. I don't really get it. Maybe Bhakti Thakur, but we need to have an example from acharyas to show that also if it is important. Without example,
Okay, yeah, examples are important, but the whole Prabhupada mentions that actually Shastra is evidence.
yeah, time circumstances are very important elements which Shastra give to the person's quality who will see life.
Yes, actually, during the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that was not discussed very much because in many ways, it was in place. Majority of people were living connected with the land. That the Varnashrama culture, although not not pure, there was exploitation and abuses, etc. But in many ways, the the more simple lifestyle, which was in villages, and in general, you know, this not only 500 years ago, even up to the time when the British came to India. When the British came to India, they wrote, some of them wrote their observation of the country, of habits of people, etc. So there was, it's described that the British described how the villages in India they visited were very clean, people were very well behaved, there was no alcohol problem. It's the British who introduced these things. Tea and coffee was introduced by the British. It's not that everyone was completely without sin, but it was the Vedic culture, as we see described in the Bhagavatam. So therefore, um, the degradation and going away from this more natural way of living, respect is like people. Family was very strong, at least here in India. Uh, family relationship with, in general, were good, healthy. Uh, so the actual degradation started, as Prabhupada also confirms, just a few hundred years ago, uh, with the whole advent of the Industrial Revolution, and we've become more and more materialistic and more involved with industry, and we become an age of machine, the age of machines. So it is true. It because very few, there are few examples. Therefore, it is definitely a factor in making it more difficult. But the examples the examples are to be found in the Shastra, number one, and secondly, uh, we have a number, not only within our own ISKCON society, there are some communities. Krishna Valley is has been working in that direction. It is not perfect, but there are different features of that culture which are manifest in a place like Krishna Valley. We have our community also in Indonesia, for example. There are aspects of that which are which we can see. Some There's still some places in India, some villages that are not so modernized as many places. We can still find remnants of that. Yes.
You mentioned this Shastra, that's true, that the Shastra is giving us all the knowledge.
Right.
To find it and properly explain it, you need purity. This means Brahmanical or minimum kshatriya
Yes.
purity.
Yes.
And if we don't have, then anyone who reading the Shastra, they will read according to their contaminated consciousness, and they will present it in a different, contaminated, differently, of course,
Yes.
not consciously but unconsciously. They will present on their level of consciousness.
Yes.
So that's why so many different understanding are presently explained in different communities, because devotees have different level of purity.
Understanding. Yeah.
They are
Right.
devotee, they pure devotee, but still they have different visions, and because they are reading the same shastra, but they're getting different points important.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why Prabhupada wanted, I think, to train brahmanas.
Yes.
They will read the shastra most perfectly.
Yes. 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 That is the beginning stage or beginning level, and that's what Prabhupada insisted or focused on, as you mentioned. Unless we have such qualified persons, then yeah, we will not get the as it is understanding.
I see that in Krishna Valley, that different leaders are introducing the Varnashram system according to their understanding, and they are not agree.
Yeah,
Of course, they they are very nicely trying to cooperate, but I know they are not agree.
Right. Yeah.
And that's devotees see.
Yeah, it's naturally what's the expression? Growing pains. I mean, it's just like when a body develops, there's some different adjustments, and it's not so easy to introduce for so many reasons and so many factors. Not so easy to introduce the pure original teachings that are there. At the same time, yeah, the more we follow Prabhupada's instructions, especially in the matter of providing more training and more education to our devotees in keeping with um, the teachings of the Bhagavatam. But yeah, the higher the level of purity, then there will be more clarity in our attempts.
Do you remember that Bhakti Thakur provided some shastra, some book about how to train Varnashram qualities? Maybe he should be a UNESCO.
Actually, I just recently, I didn't know that there's a series of books that's called a harmonist. Have you seen that in English? There are about 9 books, like this size actually, and they contain most of it is coming from the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Sajjana Toshani. And I couldn't bring it because there's too many. But one devotee will be coming later this month.
It's on online also.
Hmm?
I saw some pages on online.
So there are many references to Varnashrama, but whether Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had something like very systematic regarding how to introduce, I don't know. That's why I wanted to bring that particular series. It's called a harmonist. Yeah. Actually,
It is not like the production of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's group.
yeah, there's connection there because when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a young boy, he was like the secretary to his father. His father trained him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so some things, of course,
One relative of her father took him to Kolkata to train him like a secretary.
right. So there are many writings. I mean, both Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they wrote a lot. And there's quite a lot available in English, and then other which is not translated. So this the Harmonist is containing both, from what I understand, both writings of these two acharyas, and yeah, it's like the more we read whatever Srila Prabhupada has given us, and also the more we read what the immediate acharyas before him have given us, because many things naturally that Prabhupada is presenting is in line with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because Prabhupada would be reading these, he would be familiar with various writings of his Guru Maharaj, and some of the terms he would use also. So yeah, it'd be interesting to find out what specific information they have given.
It looks like this system of GBC also looks like a little bit taking something from Varnashram system to protect the spiritual leadership against their individual mistakes. This looks like a Brahminical protection.
Well, that was, as we know, the desire of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yeah.
Because sannyas means part of the Varnashram, but sannyas alone could be broken or could be very risky.
Sannyas could be?
Means to be a sannyasi without having some kind of protection. If they are really preach vigorously, they are very, very much affected by Maya also. So
right.
They need also someone who's supervising them. Of course, they are in healthy condition, or they help them to come back if they have some difficulties.
Yeah. Well, within, for example, within our society, we have what they call the Shastrik Advisory Committee. Yeah, it's called SAC. It means although GBC body is there as the governing agent for the society, they also have a group of individuals who are meant to be more Brahminical, and who can, because some of the subject matters are not so easy. Yeah.
Research.
Right.
Research.
Yeah. And actual brahmanas are actually rare. Actual brahmanas, because there's so much of learning and understanding. We can hear the bell. 7 o'clock, I think. Jai Grantara Shrimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna.
Zalunez Bhakti Raga Swami Maharaj ki Jai.